I'm here to talk about digital transformation and the best use of data in digital transformation. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to share some of my experiences and stories from the past. Today I'm not going to talk about the power of data or the possibilities of AI and machine learning, even though I'm a data scientist by trade. Instead, I'm going to focus on what we as leaders can do to facilitate and bring to life the possibilities of data within our organization, particularly in digital. So before I get into all of that, a little bit about me. Over the last 20 years, I've been very fortunate to kind of ride this global digital evolution or revolution that's been sweeping across this world. I've had the fortune to work across a variety of different cultures around the world in a variety of different countries. And I've also had the opportunity to work in various capacities with so many different brands around the world. Most recently, I lead digital analytics for the retail bank at HSBC, and where some of the learnings from all of these challenges and interesting areas that we've faced in other brands have been putting to use. And this is something that I want to share with you as well as part of what we do today. So when you think about digital, data is inevitable. So data and digital are like the yin and yang. One cannot exist without the other. Whenever you are digital, you have data. The more digital you get, the more data you have. And you either drown in the data, or you can drive, and you can use the data to drive the organization forward. And most successful organizations have figured out a way to handle and harness that digital data at scale to drive meaningful outcomes. And that's really the secret of the success in making digital transformation a success within your organizations. But data can be like a multi-headed beast. The nature of the beast is, particularly with digital, comes with the normal descriptions you see about data. This data comes at a rapid pace. It's at real time. You have to deal with that in real time. There's massive amounts of data. Data simply keeps building up. There's also a massive variety of data when you look at it. You can get data in terms of text, in terms of numbers, in terms of pictures, videos, sentiments, location, what have you. And also interestingly, there's an element of quality of data. Data quality, I mean, we all talk about getting perfect. There is no such thing as perfect quality of data. It's something to aspire to, but it's how we handle the nature of the data, because life isn't perfect. Life happens. People get interrupted as they go through their digital journeys. So it's how we cope with that. And sometimes the nature of the beast sucks up all the oxygen in your organization. I'm pretty sure as leaders, how many meetings you've been to where you have two people arguing about data points, saying, oh, we think that this is these are the number of customers we have. No. We think these are the number of customers we have. And instead of actually solving the business problem, you end up figuring out which is the right amount of data. Anyway, that's a nightmare situation in most organizations. So the normal tendency that I've seen in most organizations is, this is too much, let's not deal with it. Let's sweep this under the carpet and move on, as if nothing happened. But the sheer amount of signals that the data is giving you is a massive opportunity for you to use for your organization and take that forward. So you ignore data at your own peril, and there have been enough brands that I've shown in a couple of slides before that have actually faced pretty drastic consequences for not heeding the signals data have been giving you. So what do we do as leaders to get the best out of data for our organizations? So what I'm going to share with you are 11 lessons that I've learned over the years in various capacities over various areas. So first of all, as leaders, embrace the change. Insist on digital performance indicators. Use them. Own them. Make them part of your consideration set when you're making your decisions. Even if they are not driving primarily the decisions you make, at least make sure that you're letting the organization know that you're considering them in your decision making. This is very important. So you set this tone at the top, and it follows in the organization. And here's another interesting thing. Ask not what is available in digital, what data is available in digital. Ask what information you need. Challenge your digital organizations to get you the information you need. And you know what? The secret of digital is that digital is a very flexible medium. It will get you the data you need. You just need to challenge your organizations to do that. Secondly, as leaders, let's set clear expectations of what the outcomes you want to drive out of digital. These obviously will change and evolve over time, and there is a need for having a sort of a long-term vision. But having said that, set near-term clear objectives for what you need. That helps us prioritize and plan for data. Half the battle in digital is about planning. I mean, digital is a very interactive medium. You throw something at it, it always comes back. You always get a response. The beauty of it is you need to plan for that response. So setting clarity of near-term objectives helps you plan for the response and help you move your organization forward. The third thing with data is, Rome is not built in a day. It takes time, but you need to build the muscle to be able to do that. Think of data as a product within your organizations and not a project. A product is a living, breathing thing. You invest in it, there's a longer term investment, and you grow your capacity to handle and process and distill more data. But at the same time, what I would also say is, do not commit all of your investment in one go, expecting to build this thing overnight. It's something that, it's not a technology exercise. It's actually an organization change exercise. So the biggest component in this is actually taking into consideration the organization change of pace while you're putting your capabilities in place, and that's very important. Again, I repeat myself. Data is treat it like product management. Treat it as a product, not as a project. And that's something that'll get you over the hump. And as leaders, one thing that I would highly, highly recommend is celebrate the little wins. As you're starting down the process, and wherever you are within your data transformation, there's always going to be, this is the first time in the organization we did this. This is the first time in the organization we looked at that. Celebrate that. It really boosts and motivates your teams to start to go a bit further and get more out of it. So as leaders, this is something that we can do. And take the time to reflect back. So once you've climbed a few steps and you're at that height, take the time to reflect back and look back at how far you've come. And that is really something that motivates teams to get you forward. Lesson number 5 for me, and this I think it goes without saying, focus on the insight. It's not so much the what, it's the so what's and the then what's from data that are of vital importance. So, I mean, I've been in analytics for the last 20 years, and analytics can be, you can describe things from analytics. On the back of the description, you can diagnose what's going on. On the basis of the diagnosis, you can predict some stuff, but I think the most powerful thing is what you can prescribe on the basis of that prediction. So analytics as prescriptive is probably most powerful, so insist on moving from descriptive to diagnostic to predictive to prescriptive analytics in your organizations to help drive it forward. Again, focus on the so what's and then what's. It's all right to just simply know what the data is telling you, but so what? How are you going to use it? And this leads me easily to the next point. You get these insights from data, but not all insights survive in the wild. So constantly challenge assumptions and encourage experimentation. So you have an insight that you get from data, experiment with it, and start to see how this actually works in reality. Sometimes they may not always work, but it's important to prioritize that experimentation so that you get the right treatment of it in market. And again, what I say is, and this is typically from an economics perspective, take a Bayesian approach. You always constantly challenge assumptions. And constantly challenging assumptions actually helps you build a a good knowledge base, and actually it helps you build a good practice. And that basically is important when we need to set a continuous learning environment for you within your organizations. And that is very healthy as you start to challenge some of these assumptions. And I can't say enough about this. It's about democratizing information. It's getting data as spread in your organization as much as possible and as much as you can allow it. There are two aspects of it. It's not just about sharing data between the various parts of your organization, but also ensuring that there's the right interoperability and the right standards for sharing this information. Some of these really help you in terms of keeping your data safe. I mean, I've been in so many organizations where customer data has been emailed. Yeah, not good practice at all. But this happens. And this happens because there's a lack of standards of sharing information. So make sure that you institute ways in which teams can share information between amongst themselves and are able to learn from each other. Sharing information is all right, but it's about how you bring that data closest to the action. And this is really important. Data is useless if it just sits in a silo somewhere within some teams, but it really needs to be brought to the front line. So bring the data to where it actually is used. And if it makes sense, crash teams together. Make teams very cross-functional so that data comes right in line with your decision-making, goes right to your front line. And what that also brings about is a sort of a cross-functional mindset within organizations. So data is not just stored in silos, but actually spreads through the organization and is utilized in the place where they need to be utilized. Much like a fighter pilot's cockpit, unless the data is there, it's not going to be of much use. And give people who use the data all the data they need to move the business forward or to move the organization forward. So this is of vital importance. We keep challenging our leaders in business in terms of what it is that you're going to do with the data and make sure that we get the data and the insight to them at the right time, in the right context, for them to utilize in their organizations. This goes without saying. We are custodians of our customers' data, and we need to treat it as such. We need to take data privacy and we need to take the ownership of their data very seriously. But another way to think about it is about what value exchange can we offer our customers and our consumers as they share their data with us. What are we going to do to maximize the value of them sharing their data with us? So it's no longer a question of, do you want to opt in? It's giving them reasons to opt in and focusing on that. And at the same time, making sure that privacy and security of what they offer you is of paramount importance. So you would have heard concepts of privacy by design. And these are very important as we start to look at how we can use that data and how we can utilize that for our purposes. I can't stress this enough because there's a certain amount of, data is all about trust. There's a certain amount of trust our customers have on us. Let's value that trust and make sure that we treat it right. This is, and to that, all of this cannot be possible without talent. But here's the interesting thing. When you talk about data scientists, people like me, and there's a massive dearth of people like us in the wide world. We're called data unicorns in some areas. But really, so if there is such a dearth of people, how do you actually manage that? There's an interesting balance that you can have between your internal skills of what you already have versus external expertise. Actually, contrary to popular opinion, traditional data skills that you may already have in your organizations are actually massively undervalued, and they set the context and there's a certain purpose that they can be used for. But at the same time, when you're bringing the external in, when you're bringing external experience in, don't just bring them in for their technical expertise, but really it's about making that important shift in mindset and mentality. That's when you bring the external in. And not everything externally is going to fit within your organization. So again, experiment there, see what works for you. And one more thing I would add to that in terms of talent is use the machine intelligence and the data to aid your talent, not undermine them. Use it to help them make better decisions, because it's not only important that it helps your data teams produce the right kind of data, but also helps your organization grow in maturity to consume that data in the way that it's required. And that's pretty important. So bring the data and use it to help people as opposed to just undermining them. And I can't stress the importance of that enough. And as leaders, communicate, 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 communicate. Can't say this enough. Shout from the rooftops and share successes, but more importantly, share learning across your organization. Create an environment where you can share that learning. And make data be the drumbeat of your organization. There's a certain rhythm of your organization that you can have, which data can really help provide that. And there's something to be said about also using the data to create organizational memory. So make sure that you're building your organizational memory as people are starting to invest time and energy. There's a lot of institutional knowledge that you'll start to bring from that, which will be really useful going forward. And last but not the least, this is a bonus for you guys. You've been such a lovely audience. So one of the things I would say is with data and with digital, working in communities is very important. So create communities inside your organizations for people to share ideas, collaborate, learn from their mistakes, and be an open environment where they can share and learn from each other. But it's not just internal communities, external communities, communities like this. You've already taken the first step to come in and participate and listen to ideas and share ideas within an environment and a forum like this. Let's keep it going. Let's have more of you participate and talk about your experiences as they come up next year. And you're already there. You've already taken the first step. So congratulations on your journey in making digital transformation real. And what I'd say is happy surfing. Thanks.